Camera's rolling. I think we're ready to go. Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymart, and this is Growing Older Gay Kitchen Table episode 35 for the 15th of November 2025. This is our weekly check-in where I tell you what's going on at my kitchen table, as well as the kitchen table around the LGBTQ plus fishbowl. And we have a couple of housekeeping notes this week. This is now a podcast that you can get on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yeah, so you can now listen in to Kitchen Table instead of having to watch YouTube. And of course, if you want to see what you hear, you can also continue to watch on YouTube. We are going to be modifying the show just a little bit to be less dependent on the graphics that I show on the screen next to me, so that while those of you who like to see the pictures and some of the video that I show to go along with what we're talking about, we will continue to be on YouTube. That is where I've grown up in social media. But this is a first for me to be out doing podcast style formats. So you're going to notice a few changes in our show as this evolves. But yeah, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, when you listen out there, please do give us a 5-star rating. Say nice things in the comments. Let people know what we're about. And I hope to have some success there reaching a larger audience. And if you're new to us, if you watched our show before, what you'll find out is that we always like to start our show with the daily meme. And that is from our social media, all 4 food groups of social media: Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. We don't do the X. And we have daily inspiration, daily memes, photos of what's going on in my life, where I'm traveling. Today's daily meme simply says this: it is a privilege to grow old gay. Now that seems like kind of a platitude, but there's a lot of us that are my age and a little bit older that know truly what that means. And it's simply the fact that because of the AIDS crisis and because of the statistical odds that gay men and gay women tend to not live as long as heteronormative people, it's a privilege for us to get to old age. And there's some misnomers out there about growing older gay. In the gay community, especially among the youth, there's this misnomer that 30 is the end point of life if you're gay. After 30, it's over. You might as well just, end it. And that just simply isn't true. What I have found, and as someone who came out late in life in my mid to late 40s, I'm going through sort of not a midlife crisis. It's really more of a second adolescence because I'm starting life over again. I have an attitude to go with that, and everything is new to me, at least relative to the gay space. But what I'll tell you is that what I have found here in the last close to 10 years of being out as an older person is that there are a lot of people my age and older who are living vibrant lives, vibrant sex lives, healthy lives, and they are good-looking people. Just because you get old doesn't mean you turn into a useless person who has no value to offer, who doesn't get sex, who doesn't have romance, who doesn't have excitement, or any kind of virility. That just simply isn't true. The fact of the matter is it's a statistical win for us to grow older. And that's because we've got the HIV epidemic that took a lot of us out. So if we're still here that grew up through that, we've already won. And a lot of us tend to be a little bit more susceptible statistically to drug addiction, alcoholism, smoking, and other things that tend not to be as healthy for our bodies. So a lot of us die young because of not taking care of our bodies or putting ourselves in positions through those things that cause us to die earlier than we should. The bottom line is just because we are older, we can continue to be healthy, we can continue to have vibrant sex lives, and we continue to be fit. We can do that just as easily as when we were young. It takes more work when you're older to get up and get out to the gym and to push ourselves at the same level. We may not be getting into bodybuilding at age 40 or 50, but if we stay healthy and we eat right and we try to keep things out of our body that harm it or aren't as good for it, we have just as much chance to live happy, healthy, physically active lives into our age. And I know so many people in my age group and older who are in the gay space who are doing that. There's proof in the pudding. And the most important part about all of it, one of the reasons in my mind it's a privilege to grow old gay, is because the younger people behind us get an opportunity to learn from us. They get an opportunity to have connections and friendships with us. We have an opportunity to offer our wisdom of learned lessons, which is huge because a lot of younger gay people, just as when we were young, don't necessarily have family or role models around them. Many people just don't have connections with their family, or the only role models they have around them are people of their own age group. And they don't necessarily have father figures or mother figures to look up to get advice from, and to bounce off ideas and problems and talk to about what they're going through, or even look to for advice. And while just because we're older doesn't necessarily make us wise, many of us have walked many miles. We've learned a lot of lessons, and we do have a little bit of wisdom to offer. And the hope is that because we are older and gay, we tend to be less judgmental and parental in the way of judging a younger person when they come to us and ask us about X, Y, and Z. So it's a privilege for me. I am not, in my mind, I am still in my 20s and 30s, at least as it relates to getting out in my community, doing things, being involved, being vibrant in my life. And it's all about attitude. And then it's about health. It makes me laugh. I hate to say it, that I actually kind of smile and chuckle when I hear 30-year-olds, 40-year-old gay men whining and crying about getting old. And, oh my God, I'm getting old. I'm no good anymore. Oh, I'm not going to get any anymore. Whatever. And they're serious. They are seriously having despair over this. And I have to bite my tongue not to just laugh out loud at them. Because in my mid-50s, life is beautiful. Life is grand. And there's many people older than me that feel the same way. It's all in how you look at it and how you approach it. So there is that. And that really gets us to some good news. As most of you know by now, the Supreme Court passed on having a conversation about gay marriage. They're not going to revisit Obergefell versus Hodges and rehash that old law, which is currently settled law from the 2015 ruling. Kim Davis, she was not happy with that, right? Everyone knows who Kim Davis is. She's the woman from Kentucky who's been married 4 times, who took it upon herself to say gays can't get married because it's wrong. Married 4 times she is. Not to get on her. Bottom line is she appealed to the Supreme Court because she felt she was put upon by the fact that this is now settled law. Well, the Supreme Court, and a lot of us were worried that they were going to take this up again, and we were at risk for losing our national gay marriage rights. It just, this time, did not happen. So we dodged a bullet. And so what does it mean? It means for now that same-sex marriage is settled law. It continues to be so. So even in a state where they don't necessarily like it, they have to do it. They have to honor it. Now, if this ever changes on a national level, we still at the moment have the respect for marriage law that was passed in 2022, which means that even if your state doesn't allow gay marriage, same-sex marriage, that they have to respect it. If you move there from another state, if you get married in another state, they have to respect it. They just wouldn't do it there. The conservative right doesn't go away. Just because they lost a battle doesn't mean they're going to stop. These people are convinced that gay marriage is the end of their religion. It's the end of their happiness. It's the end of the world. It's just the end. It's over. It's Satan's power coming down upon their ability to be godly. Whatever. They're such a fringe group these days, but they have power. They will continue to fight this. And so we have to keep our eye on the radar and just sort of keep living, keep growing old, keep having fun, keep loving, keep doing what we do, because at the moment we're in a good space as it relates to that. And that sort of gets me to our next topic, which is sex positivity. And there's a lot of misnomers out there about being sex positive. And I know this directly in my own life because I am a very sex positive person. I can have a conversation about any level of sex with any level of kink in almost any circumstance with anyone. I don't mind. I'm not embarrassed about anything related to sex conversation, which is one of the reasons I do a lot of outreach and why I work in HIV testing. And I can sit across the table from people who I've just met and have frank conversations about whatever it is. And a lot of my friends in particularly other parts of the community that are not necessarily in the kink community, they still sort of, they clutch their pearls and they wince and they get a little bit nervous when you start talking about sex, even in the gay community. They have this built-in shame or this built-in attitude towards sex that says, oh, I can't do that. I could never do that. I don't know about that. I'm not that big of a whore, whatever. That's the kind of stuff that I hear. I saw a nice little post that Bobby Box, and I've quoted him on our show before. He's a social media influencer and he's a good guy. He's actually got a lot of good advice, I think. And this post basically talked about sex positivity misnomers. And his message is basically this: it's not about how much sex you have, but your attitude towards it. It's about valuing sex as a healthy and respectable part of your life. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not shameful. You don't have to be guilty about it. It's not wrong. And you don't need to have judgment either upon it or judgment upon yourself for enjoying sex, for engaging in sex, for being interested in it, even if it's a lot of it or really kinky sex, right? You don't have to have that guilt, shame, and judgment around it that ruins the experience. It ruins the joy. It ruins the curiosity, right? You don't have to have that. It's about your attitude toward it. Just because somebody is sex positive doesn't mean they're out having sex with 250 or 300 people a month. That's not what that means. It means that they're able to be open-minded, accepting, and willing to explore, and willing to have a conversation honestly and straightforwardly with people about it, and be honest with themselves about it. And for me, most of the people that I've interacted with out there who have an issue with sex positivity, it most often is based on their past trauma, their past religious upbringing, their conditioning by society. And it just takes getting past that, because being sex positive is a healthy thing, mentally, physically, and spiritually. It can be a helpful thing to your brothers and sisters out there. And it just takes the pressure off all of it. Why not talk about sex just like I'm talking about the books on the shelf over there? It's that simple. All about attitude, just like growing older. And we're going to continue on this sort of topic, and I want to talk about couples' sexual health today. Couples, when they're together, especially in the gay community, more often than not have open relationships. Or they have open relationships and they don't know they have open relationships. Maybe they think they have a monogamous relationship, but their partner isn't necessarily as monogamous as they are. The point is, there's a lot of gradation to how gay couples interact with the rest of the world around them when it comes to sex. And we all know about sexual health. We've been talking about it since the HIV/AIDS crisis, and how to protect yourself against HIV/AIDS. There's PrEP, how to protect yourself against other STIs, DoxyPEP, and there's other variations on those themes. But when you become a couple with somebody, and particularly when you have an open relationship, you become bonded spiritually, you become bonded mentally, but you're also bonded physically because you interact with each other if you're lucky. And so what that means is that if you're also interacting with the rest of the world out there, that you're not only having to take care of your own sexual health, but you need to integrate how your partner fits into that. And what that means is a couple of things. First of all, there are a lot of couples out there where one partner is HIV positive, the other partner is not. That's a very common thing. And there's a lot of people out there that wonder if that's safe. Well, it is, of course, perfectly safe, because if you are a couple like that, or you are dating somebody who's HIV positive and you are negative, there are ways that you can be a healthy, vibrant couple and protect each other. And what you simply do is, the person who is HIV positive already knows they need to stay undetectable to be healthy. Even if you were not taking PrEP as the negative person and you were having sex regularly with that person who is undetectable, you are generally accepted as being safe from getting HIV. But you can do PrEP. And if one's doing PrEP, the other is doing HIV meds, you have virtually zero chance of ever transmitting that disease from one person to the other, period. If you're a couple with somebody like that, you make sure that you are communicating with each other, that you are honest with each other, and that you are working together in that way to protect each other. Because when you're a couple, that's part of the deal. That's one of the benefits you get as a couple, is protecting each other. You also want to be very honest and very communicative, especially if you are involving a lot of other people in your sex life from day to day. And so what that means is being able to have a conversation with your partner. I went out and I had sex with somebody today, X, Y, and Z. I went to the bathhouse. I hooked up with so-and-so. And the reason you want to be able to do that and not necessarily have it a don't ask, don't tell, and I'm not judging don't ask, don't tell, but one of the reasons why a perfectly open and honest, forward-looking relationship in that way is good is because you are then able to include doxypep without shame or having to hide it. When you go out and you have sex and you hook up with another person outside of your partnership, you want to make sure that you're taking that doxypep so that you're not going to bring home something to your partner and have to tell them later, oh, I popped positive for gonorrhea, syphilis, or one of the other things. You want to protect yourself, but also protect your partner. So if you went out today and you hooked up with somebody outside your partnership and then you had sex with your partner that night, you want to make sure that you're both taking doxypep because you may very well have transmitted what you got today to your partner. So having that communication is very important. You want to communicate what you're doing and how you're doing it so that you can both decide together how you're going to approach your physical health when it comes to protecting yourself against STIs. That is an extra layer when it comes to being a gay couple who has an open relationship, but it's very manageable if you have that component of honesty and that component of communication. And if you are both doing this on a regular basis, it's just helpful to say, let the other partner know on a regular basis what you've been up to and what you've done. It's not about coming to the mat and apologizing. It's just about, hey, I did this today, just so you're aware of it. And if one of you does contract an STI, which has happened in my relationship more than once, you immediately let the other person know so that they can decide about how they're going to approach that. In most cases, it means they go get tested too. And it's just a matter of not having a shame around that, not having guilt around that, and essentially having an acceptance around the fact that if you're going to play, sometimes there are things that you have to do to take care of that. And because you have gotten to a point where you are honest and open with your partner, and we're past that conversation now, you want to really sort of invest yourself in your partner's health, and hopefully they're doing the same with you. And that means that if one of you has regular medication, or both of you have regular medication that's prescribed for healthy sex, whatever that may be, it helps that if you work together to help adherence to that. And it means kind of, watching over your shoulder and being parental in some cases, especially as we get older. Sometimes we need help and we forget. But adherence to those medications becomes not only something that's good for the person taking it, but good for the couple. So if somebody has HIV medication that they have to take every day, somebody has PrEP medication that they have to take every day, it's helpful to be on the lookout to make sure that you're both participating in that and you're adhering to your medication. And the last thing is, in the animal kingdom, when you have animal couples, they groom each other, they take care of each other. You see rabbits, you see cats, you see other animals that will lick each other clean, and they'll pick bugs out of their fur, things like that. They groom each other, they take care of each other. When you become an intimate couple, it's also a good practice to keep an eye on each other's physical condition. And that can go all the way to intimate parts and pieces and just having a look once in a while and making sure everything's okay. I had my husband the other day give me an inspection just to check me out, make sure I was not developing anything anywhere that might get some attention. It doesn't have to be like a monthly scheduled thing. It's just something that be willing to, if you notice something, say something. And if you notice some change in your partner's behavior, their physical condition, their look, if it's something that's concerning around health, be sure to have that conversation. Don't just let something go. When you're a couple, sexual health becomes a team effort. Yeah. And now that we've gotten through all of that, we can stay married. Being sex positive is a good thing. And having communication as a couple is a good thing. Now it's time to have some fun. We have an event that I want to talk about, and that is San Juan Bear Weekend in Puerto Rico, February 12th through the 16th, 2026. The website is sanjuanbearweekend.com. This is a 5-day party in Puerto Rico in their good season in February. So if it's wintry and nasty where you're at, This is a great place to get away. I like Puerto Rico in the way of travel because it's kind of like going to an international destination, but it's still within the United States purview. So you don't necessarily need a passport. You don't need to go to all of the lengths that you have to go to for international travel. And it's relatively affordable compared to many other places to go. And it's beautiful there. This event, Bear Weekend, is Thursday a meet and greet and dance party. Friday, a beach party and a leather party. Saturday is the big bear milk dance party and underwear night. During the day on Saturday, it's kind of a more open free day to maybe go out and check out Puerto Rico, the village, the town, San Juan, go off on a hike someplace in the hills. Sunday is a big pool party, and then Monday is a closing party with blackout. It's got a leather tint to it. It's got a bear tint to it. Now, I've not been to this, but I have watched it online. It looks like a lot of fun. I aspire to go to it someday. But one of the things I like to do is I'm always looking for opportunities and events to go to, and this just looks like a fun one. Bears are fun. I identify as leather. I identify as a bear, and I just absolutely love the community of both because they're friendly, they're open, and there's a lot of fun to be had. A lot of good people in those communities as well. And so I want to close by simply reiterating about the fact that you can now find us on Spotify. You can listen to us there. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. You can also see and listen to us on YouTube. YouTube will continue to offer other video pieces and stories in addition to our podcast. YouTube is where I grew up with my other channel, Test Driven TV, test driving cars and talking all about them. So I've done YouTube for a lot of years, a long time. So I will continue to love YouTube, but I wanted to make sure that people who are driving in their car, who are sitting at work, can listen to me yab on about God knows what, because I like to talk and I like to be heard, don't we all? You can also subscribe to us on all of the major food groups of social media. So there you go. If you are watching YouTube, on the screen, you can see our latest episode right there to my left. You can also see the subscription button where you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So subscribe to everything. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.